What a beautiful day today at the Forteresse de Chinon. Behind us is the main entry to the fortress, and if you can imagine, Joan of Arc once strode through those gates.
Just with a mission and
To
a message.
proclaim that she had a message.
Yeah, a message from God to tell the young Dauphin he was meant to be king and meant to liberate France.
How exciting.
We're waving at you from the very formidable Forteresse Royale de Chinon, the guardian of the Vienne River and a key stronghold in medieval France. This fortress has seen it all, from the courageous stand of Joan of Arc to the final days of the Templars. With its towering walls and breathtaking views, it still whispers stories of power and intrigue. Come explore it with us right here on Saving Castles. Beautifully sitting on the banks of the Vienne River, Chinon has stood witness to centuries of history. And at the heart of it all, overlooking the rolling hills and the charming medieval village, is the Forteresse Royale de Chinon. This day had just the right weather for us to explore. It was a bit windy, but it didn't rain, which was lucky because the fortress had a lot of open areas. Monty and I brought our girls along, Alexis and Jessica, and the four of us started our journey from the base of the village. Walking through Chinon's medieval streets was an adventure all on its own. It felt like we had stepped back in time. The town was charming and quiet, with hardly anyone around. We could have spent the entire day just wandering the village. We passed tiny shops and cozy courtyards, climbed uphill through narrow alleys, and discovered little bookstores tucked into corners. The village of Chinon felt intimate and peaceful. It was the kind of place that whispers old secrets, if you pause long enough to listen. There is the option to skip this detour altogether by just going up the elevator straight up to the fortress, but we honestly didn't know about it until we were already up there. It was all worth the climb though, because this castle was simply incredible. The Forteresse Royale de Chinon was built strategically on a rocky spur, dominating the landscape and serving as both a defensive stronghold and a royal residence. The fortress evolved over centuries, from early foundations in the 10th century to its medieval peak in the 12th. During its prime, it was a nearly impregnable fortress, with massive walls that controlled the valley below. Though much of the fortress is now in ruins, what remains tells the story of its strength and importance. You can still explore sections of the thick walls, climb up the remaining towers, and imagine what life might have been like within these formidable defenses.
You can see up on this phase, this section, were a little bit more of the ramparts where they would fight their battles from.
You think this might have been a secondary wall?
You can see the steps. It's like tower steps. So it probably went to another level, a secondary defensive boundary. Whoa. Don't drop your phone.
The castle is divided, along its length, into 3 enclosures, each separated by a deep, dry moat. The easternmost enclosure is known as Fort Saint-Georges. The central or middle castle is the Chateau du Milieu, while the westernmost is known as the Fort du Coudray. While the curtain wall stands in many places, the buildings within the chateau do not survive to the same extent, and in many cases, little more can be said about them than the location of their foundations and possible use. But, even with parts of the castle missing, you still get a real sense of how robust the fortifications were. This place was built to last, and it did.
So to get here from Chateau de Bellebat was about a 12-minute drive. Traffic isn't so bad. It's never bad, really. And to get in you're gonna need tickets. And for Monty and I, it was 25 euros total for adults. So ticket prices aren't so bad. And then you get this little iPad that you can use to scan codes that you see throughout the fortress, and it gives you information, history. So much fun if you want to just go on a self-guided tour.
So here is probably one of the most important parts of the fortress. This is a well, if you can show that. A medieval well. And when the fortress was under siege, this was their supply of water. And this is what kept them going for weeks and months and sometimes even longer when they were under siege. So really, everybody walks by this, but they don't realize that this is probably one of the most important parts of the fortress.
Gave life to the fortress. Don't drop your keys in.
Let's do another one. 1205.
Oh my goodness. That's what it all used to look like. How high were those walls?
Take a glimpse of the remaining walls that once stood as full rooms that witnessed so many historical events. One of the most remarkable moments in Chinon's history took place in 1429, when a young peasant girl named Joan of Arc arrived at the court of King Charles VII. At the time, France was struggling under English control, and Charles was uncertain about his future as king. But Joan, against all odds, requested an audience with the Dauphin and declared that divine voices had sent her to lead him to victory. It was here within these walls that Joan met Charles, igniting a series of events that would shape the future of France. Chinon is also tied to one of history's most enigmatic orders, the Knights Templar. In the early 14th century, the powerful order was arrested and brought to trial by the church and monarchy. In 1308, several Templar knights were imprisoned right here in Chinon. The fortress became a dark chapter in the order's history, as the Templars were interrogated and forced to confess under torture. Their fate was sealed with the Chinon parchment, a document that still haunts historians to this day. Monty and I couldn't help but think about the Templars' fall from grace. One moment, they were respected warriors. The next, they were prisoners within these very walls. It was a stark reminder that history can turn on a dime. Even though much of the castle lies in ruins today, what remains gives you a glimpse of its former power. You can still walk along portions of the old walls and explore the surviving towers, which served both defensive and residential purposes. The Forteresse Royale de Chinon was founded by Theobald I, Count of Blois, and later became the property of the Counts of Anjou. In 1156, Henry II of England seized the fortress from his rebellious brother Geoffrey and made it a favored residence, with much of the current structure dating back to his reign. Henry died there in 1189. In 1205, after a months-long siege, King Philip II of France captured Chinon, bringing it under French control, where it remained. By the 14th century, Chinon became a prison for leading Knights Templar accused of heresy. In the 15th century, it served as a residence for Charles VII, but by the late 16th century, it was abandoned and left to decay. Recognized as a historical monument in 1840, the castle was later restored in the early 21st century for 14.5 million euros and now houses a museum managed by the Indre-et-Loire General Council. And while the walls may be broken in places, the view from the fortress remains breathtaking, with the village of Chinon below and the Vienne River glimmering in the distance. This place truly makes you feel connected to the stories of the past. Exploring the castle with the girls was one of those experiences that will stay with me forever. They were curious about everything, running ahead, touching the stones, asking questions. It made me realize that history isn't just about facts and dates. It's about moments like these, when the past sparks wonder in the present. The Forteresse Royale de Chinon was truly memorable for us, and its history, much like many of the castles in France, is rich. If you're planning a trip to the Loire Valley, Chinon should be on your list. Whether you spend the day exploring the castle or losing yourself in the quiet streets of the medieval village below, you'll leave with memories and maybe a few stories of your own. If you enjoyed this tour, give this video a like. And if you'd like to see more castle tours like this, subscribe to our channel and turn on your notifications so that you don't miss any of our new videos. Until next time, keep exploring.